हर्षद पारिक सर, आप अपने आप को अनम्यूट करके
Yeah.
चालू कर सकते हैं।
Okay. Yeah. Are we
राइट सर।
ready now?
यस सर।
Okay. Good evening, friends. Welcome to this dialogue. We are coming for this dialogue because maybe we want to understand ourselves and not trying to change other people, but listen to everybody, even if their views may not agree with our views, but we can listen and then we can speak whatever we feel. So there is no need to have any arguments or conflicts about the views because the the topic which we are discussing, like consciousness or awareness, that is a non-verbal thing, or it is not a thing also, but we are using words, and sometimes words may create some difficulties in understanding or seeing something which is non-verbal. And there is no authority here. Even Krishnamurti's authority is not here. We are speaking from our own what we have, what we see, and from that we are talking. And about the one question which had come in the last dialogue, which was whether the mind is coming from the brain or mind is outside the brain. So I was looking at that, and my view is that what we call mind is made up of two things. One is the thoughts which come through the memory and the language, which is probably it is in the brain, the memory stored. And when we see something and some reaction, some memory is ignited, and with the help of the language, a thought comes into existence. Probably the thought is arising in the brain, but the other part of the mind, which we call awareness, which is not uh, in the brain, it seems to me, because this awareness, my understanding is that it is not a thing, it is not localized anywhere, it may be everywhere. And apart from our individual mind or consciousness, there seems to be something else which we may call Brahman or God or whatever, how this universe came into existence, then how matter came, and then from matter came life, and from life came mind. All this is a mystery because we were not born at that time when the creation happened, the creation of the universe, a life, and the mind. So the whole thing is a mystery, and it seems, looking at the lives of some people who claim that they, even Krishna ji, saying that there is something what he calls the ground, the source of all energy, and he was able to touch that source of energy one night, he said, in 1979 in Rishi Valley. He woke up at night and he had some strange uh, realization of touching the ground of, and what even other sages like Ramakrishna and Maharshi, they were also talking about something which is uh, very mysterious for us. if we have not gone to such a state of mind, it may seem like impossible. But many people have gone into very deep into the source of everything. And so there is a possibility in each human being exists to touch that ground or energy or God or something. And that is what the real religious spiritual journey is, to, to look within very carefully, attentively. And if we come to such a state, even then people may not agree with us and may say the person is in illusion, or because as long as we have not experienced, we don't think that it is possible. But I feel that yes, there are many things which I am feeling now, which I did not feel many years ago. So the journey is endless. And the other idea which had come from our previous discussion is about security and freedom. They are kind of conflicting ideas or conflicting feeling. On one hand, we like to be secure, and so we earn money for our financial security, and then we build a house. And I have seen rich people, they have a lot of money, but they are not secure, and they build a very high wall around their house. So to me, it seems like they are living in the prison of their own making, in spite of having the financial security and all this. And apart from that, they also have the fear of losing what they have gathered. And similarly, there is a fear of losing somebody to whom we are attached. So freedom is something is going beyond all these attachments to property, power, relationship, and coming to that state where there is not even the sense of I or me exists, only pure awareness. And that is very frightening for most people, that freedom, because it means having no sense of I or me. And we are all uh, brought up with this sense of this identity, me, is very important. And we have to show to the world that we are somebody, we are very important people. So the teachings of Krishnamurti, or spiritual teachings, they go against this idea of having lot of possessions, having lot of images about oneself. So it is a very difficult. Uh, so there is the conflict, security and freedom. It exists. Uh, so either we can go into that, which is Chabraji had brought that, or we can go into whether the mind is what is it, what it is, whether it is created by the brain or it exists independent of the brain. So that is all I have. I'm starting with. Now anybody can comment or ask questions or anything.
हर्षद पारेख सर, आप अनम्यूट कर लीजिए सर. हर्षद पारेख सर, अनम्यूट कर लीजिए.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I have if anybody wants to say something or ask something or suggest something or comment something, he can unmute himself and Parmaji has to say something about it.
Is it audible, sir?
Yes, yes, audible.
Please allow me to read out some matter related to today's topic only. This is verbatim Krishnamurti. We are saying that the brain is conditioned, at least some part of it. That conditioning is brought about through experience. That conditioning is knowledge. It is memory and experience. Knowledge and memory are limited, so thought is limited. We have been functioning within the area of thought. And to cover something new, there has to be at least temporarily or for a period, a state when thought is not in movement, when thought is in abeyance. Then he talks about mind. This was about the brain. Mind is wholly different dimension which has no contact with thought.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Let me
Yes.
explain. That part of the brain which has been functioning as an instrument of thought has been conditioned. And as long as that part of the brain remains in that state, there is no communication, entire communication with the mind. When that conditioning is not, then there is communication with the mind, which is totally on a different dimension. That can communicate with the brain and act using thought. Another very important point related to this only, when he talks about the now, Upul Jakar asked him, present and the now, the future and the present. The now contains the past, the future and the present. The present is the whole past and the future. Then he says, this is the present. The present is me. The present is me with all the memories of 1,000 years. And the 1,000 years being modified all the time, and the future, all that is now the present. Another important point I would like to present is what is the nature of the ground from which insight springs? I have to, Krishnamurti, I have told you insight can take place only when there is freedom from time and thought.
Yeah.
Upul Jakar asks, please understand, Krishnaji, it is the brain itself which listens to the statement. The now is the whole movement. Krishnaji is talking about the now is the whole movement of time thought. It is the whole structure. If the structure of time and thought ends, the now has a totally different meaning. The now then is nothing. When we use the word nothing, zero contains all the figures. So nothing contains all. But we are afraid to be nothing. Upul Jakar says, when you say it contains the all, is it the essence of all human and racial and environmental factors, nature and the cosmos as such? Krishnamurti, I am talking of the fact of a realization that there is nothing. The psyche is a bundle of memories, and those memories are dead. They operate, they function, but they are the outcome of past experience which is gone. I am a movement of memories. I am a movement of memories. Now, if I have an insight into that, I am nothing. There is nothing. I don't exist. So this is from the dialogue between Upul Jakar and Krishnamurti in 1983. You see, very mature, almost 3 years before he left his body. So this is almost updated what he thought about brain and the mind. So
Yes.
this becomes a basis because we started discussing all these things, hearing or reading out Krishnamurti sometimes, some or the other, when he uttered these words, brain and mind, and people.
Mm.
But usually what I think is any discussion starts when we start with fragments. You see, mind and brain,
Mm.
there is already a sort of conflict between the two, whether they are different or they are the same. So when we start like this, discussion ensues, and then we go on discussing and then making further fragments. So this is what happens every time we pick up an issue from what he said at a particular time. But we have to be careful when Harshad ji talked about that newness, whether that, you see, where is that newness? Not in now, not in present. This newness, the now contains past, present, and future. And this newness is not a part of that moment, which is present or now for us to realize. So these things, these questions come up in my mind. So I wanted to clarify not clarify, put it as the statement from Krishnamurti and Pupul that this is what they discussed about. And this newness, which as you uttered that day, stuck to my mind. And where that is in present, or is it a figment of my imagination because it contains future as well? You see, past, present, and future. So when we read him, is it a part of a figment of my imagination that it must be like this and it has to be and new with the background of old?
Yeah.
So thank you
Yeah.
very much for giving me this.
Yeah. The way I look at it is like we are living mostly in the plane of thinking. And
Yes.
in that thinking, it comes from the past and it also projects the future. But
Yes.
it is the plane surface. But there is a possibility in human beings to come out from that plane and come up above the plane and look at the whole plane of thinking, how 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 thinking is formed, how fear or anger comes. So that dimension, which I consider as awareness, and in that awareness, whatever thinking is happening, what thinking is doing, can be seen very clearly. And that is not in the dimension of thinking. So awareness is a different, and that we can call it awareness or consciousness, but it is not in the brain. Brain is, I consider, is just a matter. Basically, there are only two things: matter and mind. Matter, we know it is made up of molecules, atoms, electrons, protons, and all that. And the mind is made up of two things: thoughts and awareness. And thoughts, even it is kind of a material process, thinking. But awareness is not localized. It can come out and it can see from outside. It can look at thinking clearly, or in some people, they can even go outside the body and look at the body. But I have not experienced that. But I can see that awareness is not in the plane of thinking. Okay, I have finished.
Is it reflective consciousness you're talking about, that you could see that I thought like this and anger was there and this and that? Is it a reflective consciousness? And awareness is in the moment only when you have nothing to do with it, whatever it is coming to, it is coming. That is called choiceness awareness, as I have understood. So the awareness is not the afterthought. It's not a reflective of something of the past. It is
Yes.
awareness fresh, as you talked about, awareness
Yes.
of things as they are.
Mm.
So there is no judgment also from the person who is aware, or is there a judgment when the person who is aware? As you talk about true and false and this and that in awareness.
Yeah. Because this awareness is not thinking, and we always try to understand through thinking. So unless a person has really felt that dimension, will not, because the person will always think about it, and then the person is still in thinking plane. So it cannot be understood through thinking, but this can be felt, this awareness, which is not thinking. And in that awareness, whatever we see, we can see it very, very clearly, very fresh, very new, as if looking for the first time. And that I begin to feel many, many years ago. And I can see even now, after 40 years, that there is this state in which we can look at the tree or a bird or sky, and everything is so marvelous looking at it. Even the movement of insect, in that there is no thinking, only looking, which is a non-verbal.
Yes,
So, yeah, right. Okay. Chabraji or
No, I want to ask Mr. Harshad Parikh.
Yeah.
Sir, my question is, whatever he said, whatever you have discussed with Vermaji, you mean to say that this choiceless awareness, if we call it choiceless awareness, will not be having any contents?
no, it has no content.
But
Yeah.
then the Krishnamurti says you see the tree without any thought. So image of thought, image of tree will always be there. Okay, you are not naming it or terming it, but that image will be there.
The image falls on your retina, and it goes to the brain, and it recognizes that yes, there is something there, but you don't say it is a tree or it is a good tree or it's a neem tree or mango tree. That doesn't come to you.
No,
It's just looking.
you mean to say that this awareness will be awareness per se, and it will not be having any content.
Yes. Yes.
But then we are not splitting between the image and this thing, awareness and thought. Again, we are going into fragments.
No, there is no fragment. Like there is a space and then there is a matter. Like this chair exists and around it there is a space, right? Empty space, like stars, planets, and around that there is a space. So matter exists in the background of space. Similarly, these thoughts and everything comes and goes in the background of that space, which we call awareness.
This
So
awareness
awareness
will,
is not, yeah.
this awareness will also be piercing the thought, if at all thought is there.
What did you say?
This awareness will also be piercing the thought, if thought at all is there. You good to say? Piercing, penetrating.
Penetrating? No. It just looks at. It's just like looking at the sky and the cloud comes and goes. You don't do anything about it like that. Just looking, not thinking about it. Yeah? But if someone asks me what you are looking at, and then I can answer that, yes, I'm looking at this or that. In that, there will be thinking involved. There will be knowledge will be in there in describing in words. But if you don't describe it, you just look. It's wonderful to just look.
Parikhji, one more basic question. Seeing clearly means what? Seeing clearly things as they are, right? Seeing tree as a tree, seeing flower as a flower, newness as newness in the background of oldness. What do you mean by clarity? Seeing clearly. Whether judgment is not there, that false and true, nothing is there. And then when do you see this? When in awareness, if it is not, and that is discriminatory in a way that this is false and this is true. But everything is true that way. Even falseness is a true. Because choiceless awareness. I have no choices. I just see it. Clearly means what?
It's like new, as I said, it's how do I say what clarity means? It means no thinking, no past, no judgment, and just looking, just looking.
If you are not taking any reference of the past.
Yes. Like when I first time felt that, then I became aware of the beauty around me. Before that, I just used to walk on the campus of Iowa State, and my mind used to be thinking about some subject or somebody said something like that. So I was not looking, but there was a beautiful lake and the swan moving so beautifully, very gently on the water. And so I began to see it. And then I said, oh, then only I came to know that there is a way of looking at things where you really feel amazing beauty, even on the face of people, the expressions, how they change. So everything becomes very alive when there is no thinking. And in that, we can even see if something is not happening right. Like if I see that some place is very dirty, I can see it and then I can also do something about it later on. I can talk with some people or write to the government or municipality. So it's not that your mind is completely absent, it is fully alive, you know. So this is, uh, it can be understood or felt only when it happens to a person. Otherwise, we again will go back into thinking only.
Achha, this liveness, what you are talking, is that dimension which Krishnamurti is referring as the other, or there is something beyond also? What we
That I
can,
don't know. What he talks about the other, that is some mystical, it seems, which I don't understand. Yeah.
Chavla ji, Vijay Chavla ji, if he wants to comment or say something.
See, I was, one is about this, when he's talking about awareness. I think we all, don't we all somewhere have those kinds of glimpses, or, when we happen to listen, maybe we are not effortless, we just happen to listen to music, you're not repeating, oh, this is this raga, that raga, you may not even know that, but it is touching you, it is some, then you're not thinking about that. Or happen to look at something that, uh, not preoccupied, not somehow have that kind of space where you're not too engrossed in something, entrenched in something, caught up in something. Just happen to have that kind of space. So this, probably we switch over to thinking very quickly. So those moments are maybe too swift and too short-lived. But we all, I think, have that in this awareness is, it's interesting, it's a capacity which is there. I mean, as a capacity, it's probably part of brain, I would just suggest for consideration. Like, about attention, when David Bohm and Krishnamurti are also talking that, okay, is it that attention is not of time, is not of brain, but capacity to attend, capacity for attention, that is part of brain. That capacity is there. Similarly, there's capacity of thinking that we have. Similarly, there is a capacity to be aware. So there is that capacity to be aware, which is generally neglected, not sufficiently nurtured, the way we nurture thinking and the way we join in the game of chattering. We don't nurture that capacity, which is also as much there to watch and quietly listen. And when one is really interested in listening to the other or understanding the other, is in that listening, there may be that quality of awareness, and only a moment later, or very quickly, one starts interpreting or having views about it, opinions about it, so the noise comes back. So it's probably this whole field is somewhere in and out mostly, and this staying with awareness, staying with in silence, in nature, just being present, and the beauty around revealing itself. Don't give ourselves enough opportunity, it seems. But it seems it's all the time moving in and out. I would just share that one statement about this topic, or the thing we are exploring, essentially brain and mind. There's this statement, she says, "No, I want to understand when we use the word mind, when we use the brain, and when we use the word in consciousness, like an engine, they're all working together." Further, it says, first of all, are we aware that there is no separation between all this? Like driving a car, the engine is working, taking you along. So everything, how it is actually connected. But as we are anchored more in thinking, so there is no other way in thinking. It's a binary movement. There's always it's a word of opposites. So it naturally can't help moving in duality and split, and because it is referential. So it is always moving in that corridor. But I wonder whether there is just because we are used to that, to fragmentation. But even there, some like very good example Harshadji was giving, that there's a space around things. So if suppose things were put together, one upon the other, piled up, you won't see anything clearly. So because there is space, so if to the extent we are able to see things with some clarity, even relative clarity, there has to be some space around. So that's in greater the space, greater the depth of awareness, greater the clarity of things revealing themselves there. Yeah.
So how do I understand? I see things when I'm unaware. I see more things when I'm unaware. How does one understand that?
Yes. Yes. In fact, that's a very interesting aspect. See, aware. things are revealing themselves all the time. So it's a, if one wakes up to that, to be able to notice, there has to be that awareness. No, one is that there's generally the way we understand awareness, we enter a room, or or somebody comes, some new person comes, so you are aware of his presence, and and generally look around, okay, come, no, you perceive in a certain way, and there is a certain one could say perhaps conscious awareness, no, a little. So there may be certain motive in that, and then it is, but you are first looking, and then maybe why the person has come and all that, all those, then the thinking will come in. So there's always this, that's why the whole thing is together actually. It's moving, one is moving into thinking, and there is need for that awareness also, but since it gets all remains mostly muddled up as a movement of conditioning, so it's a, we don't hold it separately. But in fact, what you say, you notice things when you're not aware, as you're saying. But at that moment, you wake up. That moment you wake up to it. You say, oh, no, something, how come this thought occurred in my mind? Very strange. So you are not looking at it, you are not waiting for it. You didn't know this would happen. But you could have also not noticed so much. If chattering is very strong, then you don't even notice. It goes on, you join it. But there has to be there is space there. Then in that, there is a possibility of noticing it. You took note of it, that means there was some space there. That's how I see it.
So when I say, I most of the time I'm saying I have to be aware. Everybody says, I'm saying everybody because in the discussion, we were talking about awareness. So my question is, when I'm not aware, I see things more than generally when I'm aware. When I'm unaware, I see more things. When I'm unaware, I know more about myself.
So I don't know. I don't think in these. I didn't say that one must be aware. No. Fact is, whatever is happening, it's not one must do this or one must do that. I don't know. I don't see this. Also, similarly, I wonder whether I hesitate to use the word even right and wrong, because everything there's a certain flow and things have consequences. So the trouble is only, you want to go north and you start walking towards south. That's the issue. Not even, there's no right or wrong also, I feel. But if you want that and you're moving towards the other thing, that's not, is that being intelligent, one can ask. No? If you want to walk in that direction, walk in that direction. But you want south and you're walking towards north. So it's no question of, you must do this or that. But what is happening? Are you awake to what is happening? What you are doing? It's a question. If you are interested in it. That's all.
Can I observe that I'm sleeping is a question, sir.
Pardon?
Can I observe that I'm not awake is the question. The moment I say I should be awake, then I'm caught in time.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
And also, yes, it's a lake, a sunset, and and the swans in the lake. It's beautiful. I would love to watch too. But do I see beauty in ugliness is a question.
I don't know about beauty and ugliness, but there is, whatever it is, it's when you are walking or wherever you are, whatever is around, you see, and there's everything. I mean, mean, the same thing happens with us in our body. I mean, we have, we take care of the food, but we also can, we see that where we dump our waste, whether we segregate and how we go about it, so all that, this is part of, I mean, this whole package, the whole thing, life is a whole thing. So, so
Again, it's a
I
life.
like the way,
Har Sankar sir.
yeah.
Har Sankar sir, you can comment and suggest or say something on it, on all those things said by all the participants. You have to unmute yourself.
Okay.
Okay,
Can you hear
right.
me now? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I'm listening very carefully to everything that is being said.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think Harshadji said very nicely that he considered that there's the brain, and the mind consists of the brain and awareness. And the brain is basically thought, and this awareness is not of thought. So one of the problems, of course, here is the problem of words. I wouldn't use the word awareness for that, but today we are using the word awareness. And Krishnaji is like that too. He uses the word mind and brain, but to know exactly what he's talking about, you have to be listening to that particular talk, that whole talk, to see how he is, to understand how he is using those words and what he is meaning by those words. And then to take two separate talks out of context, it becomes very difficult to compare what he is saying. The real thing is, in that talk, at that moment, in whatever conversation has developed, just like in our conversation just now, we are using the word awareness, which to mean that capacity we have of being able to go beyond thought and look without thought. And we're calling that awareness. Not everybody calls it awareness, so this might confuse some people. So one of the problems with this awareness is that the moment you start talking about it, you're immediately limited by words. What one experiences, and I have a feeling, I don't know, I may be wrong, but I would have a feeling that everybody at some time in their life have found themselves, or maybe even quite frequently, been in a situation where briefly or for a long period of time, they have observed and seen things in this way, with this freshness and the newness and the clarity, and not being touched by thought, not springing out of what you have seen before, but what you are seeing right now. And that we've actually, that is like a whole area of human beings, because in that area, many things live in that area. Love lives in that area. Compassion lives over there. Love and compassion don't spring out of thought either. So there are all kinds of, even order, beauty, deep sense of beauty. All these things, it's like it's a dimension, like a band. Words are so inadequate to talk about it. So why are we talking about it? We are talking about it, I think. Mind us that such a possibility of such a dimension exists, and that we are capable of this, and that it is actually important in our lives. When we get caught up in everyday things and concerns, then we forget. And it's no good my asking Harshadji, what do you mean by such and such? Because That's not, in my view, a good response to what somebody says. My feeling is that the right response when he's talking about is to look inwards, because that is what all these things are. An invitation to look inwards and say, that's interesting. Harshitji is talking about something. Can I look inwards and see in my experience if I can see something that is beyond thought, which of course means first being aware of thought, of the content of consciousness. And if I am aware of that whole process of thinking and what is going on, then maybe I'll be able to see what is not that. You know, I can see all that is going on, that is thought. And then there is something else that is not thought. So this I feel is why we are talking just now about these things. To remind us to look inwards, to explore in ourselves, to take thought to its limits and look beyond the limits of thought. So that's not.
Yeah, I want to say something here. It may be very interesting because in Rishi Valley, I lived in Neem House, and at night when I'm sleeping in the dark, and I used to hear some sound on the roof, and there was a switch near my bed. So when I heard the sound, I turned on the light, and I saw a rat was coming through the hole in the roof. And the moment the rat saw the light, it went out. And this happened several times. Whenever I turn on the light, the rat. So to me, it seemed to me that awareness is a kind of a light. When it is turned on, a thought goes away. That's the initial stage of when the first time it happens, we really feel very strange about it, that there is nothing, just looking, no thought. And that is a very strange thing happens. And then what happens that after a few days, the light is on and the rat continues to move in the room. So in the higher state of awareness, thoughts can come and go. It doesn't do any harm to you. But when there is darkness and when there are too many thoughts, as Anandji said, sees too many things in unawareness. So what is seen is mostly thoughts which can create a lot of conflict also when there is no awareness. But when there is awareness, thoughts move in a very proper way. It's like if there are too many people in a dark room, and if they are moving, they will collide with each other because there is darkness. But if you turn on the light, then these people, they can avoid hitting each other. And so awareness is something which makes thinking very orderly, and thinking doesn't create any problem when there is awareness is on. But without it, there will be lots of arguments. People can get very much emotional, and then they start fighting, and the friends become enemies. Because I see it on political debate. People are not really listening to each other. They are just trying to throw their ideas and want to stick with their ideas. So there is, it's just a lot of noise goes on in the TV debate. So that is what happens in the mind also. When there is no awareness, there are many problems of maybe fear or bad feelings or feeling tired or loneliness or boredom. But when there is awareness, there is no such thing. It's just looking, and it's wonderful to just look. So that is what one can distinguish between uh, awareness is something which keeps you fit, and the thoughts they don't create problems for you because you are just looking at it. It's just a thinking. It's not something very real, you know. So what Anandji says, sees many things in unawareness. Maybe it's just a
Kay
thinking.
said, so that Kay said that, you know, when you're unaware, you see the things which you have not seen before. I mean, I get to know more about myself when I'm unaware because I'm not calculating, there's no motive. When I said I should be aware, even involved in that. And also when we're talking about inward, what do I mean by inward, sir? And there are two questions. The one is awareness, and Kay, mostly he speaks about choiceless awareness. Most of the time I'm talking about being awareness where there's a motive, there's a choice. When I also say that when I see a swan in the pond, it's beautiful. Yes, that's the beauty which is my condition. Beauty, what I'm talking about. Do I see beauty in death? Is a question, sir. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I put three questions here.
Yeah. So when you look inward, how do you look? First,
What is that inward looking?
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
how-
Yeah.
When
Okay.
I say you look inward, what is that to look inward? What is that inward looking
Yeah.
is?
It means seeing how thoughts are arising. And first one has to be very, very alert to watch. And thoughts, and initially when you try to do that, even your mind may stop, nothing may come. Because it requires the freedom to really look inward. Otherwise, it's just going round and round in thinking only. One doesn't really know what it means to look inward. So to look inward, first one has to be alone, very, very alert, curious to look what is happening, how these thoughts are coming. And in that state, it may happen that there's nothing coming. And you may either you get frightened of this, and many people say that they get frightened of that state where there is nothing coming. Or you may feel, oh, it's such a wonderful thing to have no thought and just looking. So, as I said before, that freedom is very frightening. Not to be, not to have this sense of I is very frightening, and people don't want freedom. Though they may like to have it, actually don't want it. Security is what people want, security and pleasure.
The question is I'm not free to look. One is that. And inwardly, why do I look inwardly? For what? Because as a living being, I mean, the only two things drive me. I'm pain and pleasure. Whatever I do is to avoid pain and have pleasure. So looking inwardly. Now, am I looking? Does it give me pain? I'm just putting a question, or is it a pleasurable activity? I don't see either of them. I mean, it's in fact, there's more pain looking into your inward. I don't know what it is to look into inwardly. So,
One small question related to what Harshad Parikhji said about inward looking, that where from the thoughts are coming. I know right now when we are interacting, thoughts are coming after listening to your thoughts. You see, I can see it very clearly that my thought is based on what I am listening yours as thought. So this is not something very difficult. In awareness also is not something which comes rarely. It is always there with life. To me, life is always associated with awareness. And what Anand said is also not very clear to me, that in awareness he is able to see more than what he can see in awareness. So the moment he is able to see is awareness. In unawareness he is talking. Awareness is so very important for survival, initially biological survival, then psychological survival, and so on and on. So awareness is not something very rare. We don't have to cultivate it. nurture it. It is a part of the life as I take it, as I
Survival
see
instinct.
my daily activity. So how do you see with clarity and awareness, in unawareness, how you are able to see more? More is quantifying. More is again a quantifying thing from one to many, 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 many. The moment you know that you are seeing more is quantification, is a part of your mind. So everything, the moment it starts, that is awareness, that it has already, that gives you a feeling of awareness. What does he mean by, Anandji, what do you mean by unaware?
That's a good question. That's
Sir,
the question. Yes.
The question, I mean, this is what case is. When you're unaware, you see things which you have never seen before. See, when I
Oh,
say
no,
I have to
I
be
like
aware-
to know. I like
I
to
don't know
know
that he
where
said
did he
that.
say that, you know?
Where did he say that?
Yes, sir, I'll
Yes.
give it to you. I mean, in the book of life,
Yeah,
Please. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
book of life, I mean, that is where he has said the book of life. I can give you that.
Please give me
The,
that number.
please
the
do,
entire
yeah.
passage, I will send it to you. All right. And also, when I say awareness, there is a motive involved in it. One has to be very, so we have to be very careful when what K is talking about. Can I see when I say K quotes this, I'm making him an authority. Look at my own problem challenges. All right. And I do what K says. I watch everything because K has said that. Can I see that I have already made him an authority? When he says, don't make me an authority. Can I observe that is my question, sir? That is for myself.
yeah.
And even when we are talking about awareness, he says awareness is with motive. Yes, biologically it's required. You have to be aware, otherwise you will not survive. It's very
Sir,
essential
Anand,
for us. Yeah.
Anandji, awareness
Boliye,
is
sir.
not always associated with motive.
Which
I'm just going for a morning walk. Suddenly a breeze comes, beautiful breeze comes. There is no motive. I don't move with motive. I'm seeing
Sir,
things as they are, enjoying it or not enjoying it, either way. So it is, awareness is cannot be with motive.
So one minute, sir. I will not take any action if I'm not very if I'm not feeling very secure. I will step out of my door if I feel insecure. You have to look into it. If I'm insecure, if I walk out of my door, I will not step out. Which we have to look into it. You know how we are driven by that insecurity. We are looking for security all the time, which is not there. So it is, see how much time, when we say look inward, again I'm saying there's a motive when you say look inward. See, I'm driven by motive all the time. That's what I'm saying. How much time I have spent thinking about my thoughts and what I am in one whole month or one whole year? How much time I've given to myself is the question. Kay says you put so much of time and effort to house and a big car. How much time have you spent on yourself is the question, sir.
Okay.
I don't quite understand what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
May just hello.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Please.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Sabraji.
No, you're talking about this unaware and all that. I think in some dialogue, maybe with David Bowie, he does mention that, and that, you know,
When you're not aware.
unaware, you may see things, you know.
Yes.
So
That's
I think, I mean, as I see, there's no hard and fast rule. You know, in what way, what reveals itself, and you are able to notice or not notice. I mean, you can't lay down, principles. So I feel there's a, I think it's the same I feel about when they talk about, practice, no practice. So, if how you understand all these expressions, how we understand them. If we say with practice, we'll get somewhere, that is one approach or one attitude. If you say, okay, practice for fun, let me try out, let me experiment, maybe this suits my body, this suits, sit quietly for some time, maybe on a regular basis, let me sit for an hour every day, try out. now this somebody may call it practice, or it is practice or no practice. I don't know. So it's a, when you
Yeah.
we attach to words and their particular meaning, then there is always an issue. Whereas if words are used tentatively and there's a certain flavor, maybe certain nuances there. He does say that. I can also this is not difficult to find out. I'm sure it is in some dialogue with David Bohm. It says, or in some dialogue it is there. That
No, it's with
when
David
you
Bohm,
are
sir.
unaware, you may see things. So that's also a possibility. It's not that all the time you are aware, you take it upon yourself to be, do vipassana all the time and being, 24/7 alert and all. No, it may, it may
No, it's
reveal
not
its,
possible.
you never know when, how. So it's just that. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Anand,
I think,
Acha. Please.
I think that initially one needs to make some effort to look. Just like when you want to learn a language or music, you need to make some effort initially. But when you begin to learn, then later on it becomes effortless. So when Krishnaji talks about the effortless awareness, motiveless awareness, he speaks from his level, and that is what he was. So a person also, not only Krishnamurti, other people can also come to that state where there is no motive in just looking. Like one day I was in Valley School, I was looking at a tree and I was just looking, not thinking. And a friend came and he asked me, is there something interesting there you are looking? I said, yes, everything is interesting. So he was very happy. He said, yes, everything is interesting. That is what happens when there is awareness. Everything is interesting. But if a person has not come to that stage, only has remained only in thinking, then there will be many doubts, many questions, because that is the plane in which most people live, that they think, and they think also on what Krishnamurti has said. But I did not do that. I did not think about what Krishnamurti. I am interested in looking at myself, what is happening inside, because human beings are suffering with many psychological problems. It is because they have not looked at the source. And what I read in Krishnamurti, that the source is thinking. So, and from thinking comes this sense of I. So when you really want to verify it, you have to sit alone initially, and then you have to be very curious, and then see how these thoughts, whether you can pick up the beginning of a thought. Such curiosity comes in your life, and then you will find maybe there is a possibility of looking at everything without not saying it is beautiful or it is ugly, because that belongs to the state of thinking which says this is beautiful, this is ugly. So there is no such thing in that awareness. It just acts wherever action is required. But the important thing is when this awareness comes, your thinking will become very orderly. You will not get carried away. You will not say yes, no, and very quickly jump to arguments. Your mind slows down. That is the real test of. Otherwise, one can remain in this plane of thinking where there are lots of doubts, questions, and one can go on doing that and never coming out from that. So there is, I am saying from my own life that there is a dimension which is not thinking, which can look at thinking very clearly. Okay, I have finished.
But sir, do I see that pattern over there, sir? I have made a pattern of it.
Yeah, whatever you do, you have to understand yourself only. you can't make other person explain, understand.
No, that is what I'm saying. See
Yeah.
that I have become an authority. Either
You
I
have
make
be-
someone an authority or I become an authority. The moment I say I know or I see, can I see? That is my question, sir. And in
Yeah.
seeing, when I see something, I don't say I am seeing it. Yes, when I've watched the sunrise or sunset, it's beautiful. Yes, I watched it. There's no thought over there. I mean, I can tell you that. It arises a moment later. I
Yeah.
do watch. There is that. The moment I say I watch, I'm back to my conditioning. I've watched, it's beautiful, I'm back to my conditioning.
Yeah. Okay. So when you ask a question, like you are saying, that is the question, then what do you do when you say this is the question? What do you do?
So my question is, how do I understand that negation is the most positive action and not positive assertion?
I don't
Why do you
understand how
accept?
you're
Yeah.
using talking,
Yeah.
sir.
So I mean, when
Yeah.
I keep saying, you
Yeah.
know, I'm very positive. Can I see that? I'm always very positive. I keep saying it should be
When you
this
say
way or
I,
that way.
do you mean yourself or are you talking to somebody else?
Sir,
About
I mean,
somebody else?
K says you're the world and the world is you.
Okay. Third
No,
person.
that's too easy to say. I'd
Yeah,
like to
I
know
mean,
what you see. Yeah.
Okay. I'm talking about myself, sir. When I say this is what it is, I see, when I see the sunset, when I see the beautiful lake, thought doesn't operate. I'm talking about myself. So can I
Yes.
see that I'm being very positive assertions? And when I say it's so beautiful, it's from my conditioning. When I see death, I don't say it's beautiful.
Are you sure that it's, I mean, I agree that it could be from your conditioning, but it's also
Obviously,
possible that
yes,
it's
yeah.
not from the conditioning.
No,
Both are
I'm not saying
possible.
from a conditioning. I'm putting a question mark. So with that, I'm putting a question mark. It's
So to
with a
whom are
question.
you putting this question?
To myself.
To whom are you putting this
To
question?
myself.
Yes, okay. So,
It is for myself.
yes.
We are sharing.
So,
I mean, I'm sharing.
I think you're right.
With
It's a good
everyone.
question.
Yeah. Yes.
I see what you're saying now. It is a question we have to ask ourselves. When I see beauty, when I see something, is this beauty coming out of conditioning, or is this really the beauty that I am seeing without the action of thought? So we have to be aware, because yes, we can delude ourselves. We can delude ourselves that something is true when it's only something secondhand and not something that we are seeing firsthand. So this is a big question. Can we be aware? How do we become aware of whether we are seeing something firsthand or whether it's just secondhand? If I can put it like that, which is what I understand your question to be. Yeah. We could be fooling ourselves. We could be fooling ourselves. Yeah.
Slight change. I'm not aware. I would say I'm aware of these things. I wouldn't want to say I'm aware of. I'm not aware. I would rather put it that I'm not. When I say that that is beautiful, you know, I mean, then how do I put that question, sir? Like, you know, when I say it is beautiful,
Anandji,
yes, sir,
Anandji,
yes.
if you are saying anything is beautiful, what is the problem in that? Do you have any real problem about that?
So that's a whole problem, sir. I say ugly and beautiful. I'm caught in the opposites. Point. That's my conditioning.
If you are saying something beautiful, and if you are appreciating it, then what is the problem with that? I am asking a direct question.
Yes, sir.
Not a hypothetical question.
True.
Not
Absolutely.
Not a group question. It is an individual question from me.
Absolutely. So I got your point. Beings, all beings are driven by pain and pleasure.
If it is a problem for you, then the inquiry may start.
No, that's what I'm saying,
conditioning
sir.
That you are saying anything beautiful, then the next step, the inquiry can start.
Sir, when there is pain, the inquiry will begin. I'm enjoying my life. I see everything beautiful. I'm enjoying it.
Okay.
So inquiry means I have to work hard at it. It's going to give me a lot of pain. It's not very easy.
So you can.
Anandji,
yeah.
The fact that you have to use this word beautiful is a word. It means you know something about it. Some cognition is there that it is beautiful. You are giving. There can be an awareness, which is choiceless awareness, where the words will not come to you because you are in awe. See, at that time,
right.
no words will come to you, and still, that is what is beauty is about. No
Yeah.
words will come to you. And we always associate newness with beauty only. It can be very shocking also that newness is relative to me only, of course. It is always relative to me. So that newness may not be associated with beauty all the time, bliss all the time. This is what I think. And then what I said just now, awareness is not always, in fact, it is without motive. Awareness is always, to me, it is without motive.
Yeah, that is what I've said, isn't it, sir? The moment I say I should be aware, there's a motive. That's what I'm saying. The moment I say I'm aware, there's a motive in it. That's what I'm saying. Can
The
you look
moment
at it?
you
It's
say
a question.
aware, the
Yes.
moment you say aware, Krishnamurti says you are not aware.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what I'm saying, sir.
Because I is associated with this I and
True.
you. And
No,
both
now we
these-
are getting caught in words.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is when I say I'm aware of it. Can I see there's a motive involved in it? All right, that is what I'm saying. Now, when I call it beautiful, I know what beauty is. I'm verbalizing it. Now, when someone comes and says, can you see beauty in death? Do I see that is the question, sir. When can I see beauty in ugliness? I call it ugly again. It's my conditioning.
Yes.
All right. So when I say it's beauty and ugly, it's part of my conditioning. That is all I'm saying.
Yes.
Can I observe that is a question.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But after asking the question, what is the state of your mind? Is it really very interesting question to you that your mind really stops and begin to look at itself?
So I have given you an example earlier also, sir. When I saw there was some cruelty which is taking place, all right. When I saw that, there was an action out of it. I didn't say I have to act. That's all there is. When I see danger, when I see a snake, I don't say I should run or move away. I don't say that. It just happened. Yes, I mean, in Valley, I mean, the moment I saw a snake, I was shaken up. I moved a step back near the study center. So I did not, the thought did not come in there. I said, I should move back. So when there is seeing, when there's a perception, there's an action.
Yeah.
Understanding is action. That's all I'm
Seeing
saying.
is acting.
The moment
Seeing
I
is
say
acting.
I have to see, I'm getting caught in it. That's all I'm saying. When I keep
Okay.
making positive assertions, that is part of, can I observe that is my conditioning? That's all I'm saying. I keep making positive statements all the time. Can I observe that?
But to take what you're saying about seeing the snake in your act, when you're aware, you don't say that you're aware. You don't even think about being aware. You're just aware. That's how awareness operates. It's
So-
not saying, then I don't say I'm aware.
Mm.
It's just aware. Just awareness is there. That is all.
Perception is not in time. Awareness is of time. Can I observe that, sir? Awareness is in time, not.
Well, I think this is why I said earlier that today we are using the word awareness to mean that thing. Usually I don't like to use the word awareness because actually I agree with you that the word awareness is used for, is usually in time. I would have used different word. I would have gone with Krishnaji talking about intelligence or something like that.
He says choiceless.
Or choiceless awareness.
Even in David Bohm discussion, sir, he says choiceless awareness is in time, he says.
Yes.
No, he's talking about perception, which is not of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we are talking here of perception that is not.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Sir.
Which today we are calling awareness in this discussion.
All right, okay.
Yes. But
All right.
it's not the same thing as awareness. Other people might call it.
Yeah, all right, sir.
Harshad ji,
Yeah.
hello.
Hello. Yes.
One
We
day
can
ago,
hear you,
you
sir.
have one day ago, you have posted on Facebook regarding discussion about David Bohm and Krishnamurti, and you have written there that don't accept all the things Krishnamurti has said. So please explain regarding images. So please little bit explain about it.
I don't remember because after I post, I don't unless you tell me what did I write, you know. Can
Sir,
you,
sir,
Yes, I can.
Prakash?
you have written about the society gives us images, and we return them as good people, bad people, just like that. And you have written about Mirabai, Narsi Mehta, and all those things.
Oh,
That
okay, images. Yeah.
many people,
Yeah,
enlightened
yeah.
people.
Oh, okay. See, one can, when there is this awareness, one can do whatever one likes to do. One can create images also, like the artist. It doesn't do any harm to you. It's a kind of a expression of creativity in awareness. So one can, when these images which are one one is not aware of, then it creates problem. But when you know that you are creating some image, like I am right now, I am also creating some image, you know, painting here. So it doesn't do any harm, those images which you create by yourself. And if you like it, why not? You enjoy. Music is like that, art is like that. So there is nothing wrong with images. Only when you get caught up into it and you are not aware, then maybe it can create problem. Otherwise, there is nothing wrong with the images, image making. I'm creating right now something painting here, you know, and it doesn't allow me to interfere with listening what you are saying. So that is what I wrote, that there is nothing wrong with the images, nothing wrong with even thinking. Only thinking is a problem only when there is no awareness or intelligence or perception or whatever you call it. Thinking becomes a big problem. But with awareness, with light on, you can think whatever you like to think. There's no problem in it.
Sir, will you share your painting to all of us right now? Painting.
Right now, yeah, there are so many I've done. I have also shared on Facebook also, like this. You see?
Okay.
Are you able to see?
Yes, very clearly, very clearly.
Yeah. It is some pattern, not any face or anything. Some
Yes.
tree or flower or something. So image making is a source of happiness also if there is awareness. But without it, one can get caught up and it can create, one can go into illusions and many problems it creates.
So the image what you're drawing and the image I have about you, different things, aren't there? When I say image, you have an image about me, I have an image about you, and these images are operating. So can I see the problem which arises from these images? What you're doing there, it doesn't cause any problem to anyone. It's more of your pleasurable activity. Yeah.
Yes. So in the same way, when you have images about people, it will create problem in relationship. Like if you insulted me and I remember that, and the next time I look at you and that memory of that insult comes, then I can't look at you clearly. So what I'm saying, please listen, that there is a possibility, and it is true for me also, that I can, even if you tell me something very, very insulting, I will listen to it, and it won't create any problem.
So it's not create any problem. You have just listened to it. Now, if I say I don't get a problem, then I moved away. Again, I've lost the points of what I wanted to ask. I have forgotten. See the image, sir. I mean, why do I have an image? Image gives me security. I look at a person, he's very hefty and all I say is a dangerous man. I should mind my own business, keep away from him. So functionally, that image has got, there's no problem with that. We're talking about image which has, psychologically, it gives us a lot of problems.
Yes.
We don't understand each other because of the images. Can I look at that as a question?
Yes.
Yeah. To look at the image, you need the freedom to look.
I'm not
Otherwise,
looking anyway.
yeah.
So again, freedom, when I say sir, freedom, how do you understand the word freedom, sir?
It means the mind is really clean and not, it's just curious, just looking at it. Like
When I talk about freedom, sir, I mean, again, it is involved the responsibility. It's only when I'm responsible, there is freedom. How do you again look at the word responsible again is a quite a challenge. Can I be responsible if I'm insensitive, careless? I mean, if there's no affection? I mean, they're all connected. When I talk about freedom, I mean, the freedom cannot be without responsibility. Responsibility cannot be there without care and affection and compassion, love. So I'm also, the freedom cannot be there if I'm insensitive.
Yeah.
Kale did a lot of research with this word freedom in so many dictionaries. Then he comes out that it is love and affection. Freedom means love and affection. And when love and affection is there, then neither conflicts are there, nor you are there as a problem, not you or I. Anything becomes a problem because it's love and love only. So that is freedom, he says. Today only I have read about it. That most of the dictionaries he found that freedom means love and affection.
To do what you want.
I don't know. You means again you are putting another, you see.
No, the freedom, the dictionary meaning. Sir, the dictionary meaning, it says you can do what you want, I'm saying. The dictionary meaning. Not, I'm not saying you are saying that.
And then I, and then my motive, and I, my, and
okay.
What I understand,
the freedom of,
what I understand by freedom is a freedom from this ego, the self, and that is what love is.
Yes.
Love is when the self is not, and that is the real freedom.
Yes.
But that self is me, sir. I'm protecting that every second.
Yeah.
Contradictions. I want to get rid of it, but that gives me so much of pleasure, and I mean, I'm happy with it. I have not come across one person who wants to get rid of the self. And I say I should get rid of it. See my own contradictions is the question.
Yeah. So that will take away a lot of energy because of this conflict and many questions and not really looking. And when there is no freedom to look. So everything is very much interrelated. When you ask a question, is it really a burning question? And then you can really look in and with curiosity. It requires a freedom, of course, to look.
Definitely.
Again, to understand the word freedom, you know, I mean, I have to be free from fear for freedom to be.
Yeah, right.
Sir, time is over, sir. Time is over. If you wanted to continue, we can continue it next session also. Sir, all the three speakers, Harshad Parikh, Mr. Tankha, and Mr. Chhabda, all can continue with this dialogue number 3. Am I right? Person 3, dialogue number 3. Is it acceptable to everybody?
Yes, I think it's a good idea, except that I can't always guarantee because sometimes in my life, things come up. So I can only say I can try my best to be here on next Thursday.
You have got a freedom if something comes. You are free.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me my freedom.
So next Thursday, dialogue will be the same. Harsh Tankha will be added. So 4 speakers will be there and the subject will remain same. Thank you very much. So please close it, Kamlesh Modak. Please close it.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Good night, sir, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.